Zoom. Guys, hi, we're on the call where myself, Kate Martin, is going to give away all of the inside of my VIP course that I've used to coach coaches, trainers, lots of health modality practitioners with over the last couple of years. And I really want to say that it's not about me sharing the files, it's about you implementing the stuff and you asking questions so that I can help you implement the stuff. So without wasting too much of your time, I did want everybody that's on here to actually do the choosing of what the subjects are that we talk about. Now, I'm leaning towards networking. I'm just going to do a very brief introduction of what this whole probably 10 to 12 series of videos are going to cover, and then we'll come down to just, one general topic at a time. However, they're going to obviously overlap. Everything's about personalizing stuff too, I think, and same with clients. We can give them the PDF, we can give them the handout, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to do it. It's really about the couple of small needle moving actionable steps that person gets to do so that they can see a result, just like your clients need to see a result with their body. They need to see a result with their body, ideally quite quickly. So then they're motivated, internally motivated to do more, and specifically motivated to do more of what you tell them to do. And I want this to be that for you as well in relation to your business. So whatever it is I'm getting you to do, or I'm suggesting that you do, it is because they are greatly needle moving activities. And I want to personalize them to you because it might not be either relevant for your situation. It might be different to the skill set that you have, but there are some generalized things that will make you feel better, get you out of yourself, and actually help you reach more people. And I want to say because I've got quite a technical background in terms of, posture and assessment, and from being a trained strength and conditioning coach to what's called a check practitioner. I don't know if that means anything to you. If it doesn't matter. He's the guy that brought the Fitball into the industry. So I can do a 3-hour assessment, but that's like totally not practical for the gym. So I'm really about getting people results, and I want you to be able to get results. So please ask questions as we go. Okay. What I've learned over the years of, doing more courses and finding out more about the body. You know what it's like when you learn more, you really realize then that you know what you don't know, and you start to know more, and then you oh my God, wow, there's even so much more that I don't really know about. And then there's more and there's more and there's more. So the more you know, the more you don't know. But what I realized was that that allowed me to find the next practitioner that would be able to help that person. So I didn't necessarily have to become a naturopath. I would love to become a naturopath like you all go. But I also am not interested in spending another 6 years or 10 if it's part-time, spending that much time studying, although I am technically. However, what I've done is surrounded myself with some amazing naturopaths. And I know that if I want, specific blood work done, or if a client's not getting a certain result because maybe, I don't know, there's some kind of fungus or parasite that needs testing for, I know the people to send them to. They can do some consultations with that person over there. And then all of the practitioners, be it myself, some kind of nutrition medicine doctor, a surgeon, because maybe a person's had an injury, a naturopath, or psychologist in some cases, and we would work together to collaborate on the person's results. And it also helps you accidentally grow your network. But I didn't contact those people because I was expecting them to refer back. It's a little bit of a different pathway. And what I've noticed going into the digital online space since about 2012, I'll tell you a bit more about the story in a second, is that people are teaching networking, but they're expecting that when they send clients over there, that you'll send clients back. And it doesn't really work that way. And by the way, I'm not going to send you clients unless you're good at what you do. I'm not going to join a club where we all send each other each clients. No, there are networking groups for that. I'm not bagging that, but in my profession, I would prefer to only refer on if I know that person's going to help that person get a great result, especially in terms of their health, because I figure we've got one of these this time around anyway. Just in terms of personal training, for example, look, I just want to say this. I don't love talking about myself. None of us do. This is important for you to have part of your story out there as well, can I say? Yeah, more about quality than referring, exactly. This is more about you putting your story out there. So watch what I'm doing with the whole of this series, you know, how it's run, how I promoted it, and why not just do the same thing for your audience? It's just what I'm doing now is I'm creating content for my audience that's helpful. Whether people turn up and they do it live or not, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. Why? Because I said that I would, because I'm a person of my word and I know how to turn up to an appointment, and so does everybody on here. And so does everybody that signed up for it. You know, I don't care if they're here or not, because we are coaches and consultants and health people, we're appointment face-to-face people usually. So if you could make yourself make content by helping people and turning up to an appointment, it's going to help you make content. So over the last 20 something years, I've done a lot of seminars and workshops because they were appointments, because it's easier for me to talk. You don't notice I'm not having a New York Times bestseller, right? Because I talk, I don't write. I mean, I write, but it's taken a long time to get the spelling grammatically incorrect paragraphs corrected. Do you see what I mean? When I can't do that, I don't do that naturally. I just am better at teaching. I'm actually fantastic at teaching about anatomy and most things to do with the body. But I want you to focus on probably appointments to do the thing. If you focus on the giving, because this is a give, right? And it's free. And as long as you have other things in the background that people can purchase or buy, that maybe it just comes up in a conversation and they're at different price points, then you've got a good business structure as well. And I will go into those over the next 10, 12 sessions as well. So for 24 years, I've been a trainer. I haven't done a lot of health coaching the last couple of years. The last couple of years since I moved down south to be close to my partner, ran some ads to do more business coaching with personal trainers, and that took off, and I did the whole webinar to book a phone call and all that kind of stuff, and that worked. It was amazing actually, but that kind of got me off the health coaching realm. So I've only just started to take those clients back on again now. My point is, I don't expect you to believe me or anyone else that's online. Technically, there is a lot of smoke and mirrors around. We can make everything look like whatever we want it to look like. I can tell you, I've done multiple six-figure blah, 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 blah. I can say that. And a lot of people do say that. What I do want you to know, though, is that as a single mum in that last decade of the 24 years, so as a single mum financially in that last 10 years, I have had 4 home loans approved by 4 of the major banks. So, and I have that documentation actually loaded onto my website. I guess they could be fraudulent, but they're not. So you could do a background check and kind of check that out, and it's actually real. And it's only that last home loan that was approved that had the majority of coaching clients' money in that tax return. So the reason I'm saying that is not to be fancy. It's because I had my mother financially to look after and my child, and I want to prove, I guess, impress upon you that if I can do it with this much time to figure out how to get the needle to move, then anybody can do it. In fact, usually we've got too much time on our hands to be able to do things. And so obviously, you know, that's what I mean in regards to having had at least 4 in a row, really good tax returns to be able to get those approvals from the bank, if you know what I mean, right? So, and at the height of busyness and traffic in personal training for 4 years in a row in Melbourne, between myself and 1 or 2 other contractors, between one major location and probably another one a big box gym, there were 31 classes that we were running, not aerobics classes, strength and conditioning classes with 6 people in each with a wait list. So you do the numbers. There's over 75 to 90 sessions. So because there's 6 people in each of the 31 sessions. And outside of that, and then the trainers also did 10 sessions each, myself as well, like 10 one-on-one sessions. So, and for 24 years as well, I've done seminars to not on purpose to build a business, but it turns out they actually build the business because you have people's attention. So they also work as well. Do you have to do them? Not at all. You can be an introvert, and I'm not. So that's what I mean. You don't have to do it my way. And so also with relation to the personal training, I've got years and years worth of what's called mind body calendar reports to be able to show that as well, because there are a lot of people that talk about this that actually haven't done anything. As well as that, sorry, I've also been running multiple offers. So there's always been numerous paid workshops, numerous free seminars, a possible retreat, maybe a week retreat, maybe a 4-day retreat, maybe a free boot camp, an online short program, and online long program. So between a 28-day and a 12-week online program as well, like for the last 10 years as well. So I can't do one thing. I don't like doing one thing. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do one thing. You get to do whatever works for your personality. So that being said, I'm leaning towards doing networking today. What out of these topics? Give me a number, guys. So number 1 is going online. Number 2 is marketing. All of these topics are huge. I could talk about them for a day each. 3 is sales. 4 is retreats. 5 is corporate health. 6, my resources for coaching clients. I don't think that's relevant today. 7, growing and using your network. I think that's relevant to everybody all of the time, because your network and the people that you know and the people that know you and the people that like you is what's going to grow your business potentially. I've got another whole chapter on mindset, resources and practice as well. And then there's again another chapter on seminars. So out of 1 to 9, guys, which would you most like to do today? Feel free to type it in the box or yell it out. Interesting. What about you, Amanda? Interesting. Going online, but I'm easy. All right. We'll talk about both, since as to thank you both for being here, actually. All right, so we've got mindset and going online. All right. The first thing that comes to mind, literally, is I personally don't feel, and I was saying this before you jumped on, Olga, I don't feel fantastic about myself as a human when I'm having down periods of like little activity. And while I know that they have to happen, what I'm talking about is when I look at what makes me happy, or if I feel into what makes me happy, it is actually contribution. It is conversation. It is meeting people. So if I analyze myself and look at all the things that make me happy, which it means that it changes my vibe, and I translate that to, okay, how can I put that into my business? I mean, if all I'm doing is breaking down what I naturally do as a process. So maybe try this on. So if you think of, let's do this as a little bit of a workshop, actually. Could you grab a paper and pen for yourself? And I'll give you 2 seconds to do that if you don't already have one. And I want you to write down what are as many things as you can think of that you actually enjoy doing that probably have something to do with another human. So what are the things that you, Amanda, you got a pen, that you like doing, that you enjoy doing, that has something else to do with a human? Cool. You have event experience. Well, there you go. There's your motivation. Can you please create one of those? Just create it. And actually, if you could, collaboration on those is fun as well. I'll talk more about how to build it from a business perspective, but initially, because you're at the start of the business, I would just do as many as you can with as many different people as you can. In Olga's, if you've got an established business and resources already in terms of seminars, you do the first few by yourself. Okay. So in terms of what are some of your things that you like? So I'll go first. I actually like having conversations with people where, you know what it's like when they're asking for advice and they go and implement it. They're a paying client, right? They ask for advice and you tell them some stuff and they go and implement it and it feels amazing. And it's great because you helped them, or you're like, we're a catalyst of one of the things in their journey that helped. That feels really good. I like that. So I like having conversations with clients because I attract people that do the thing. It's very different to having conversations, obviously, with family members and trying to enlighten them on stuff. That's probably not on the list for me anyway. What about you guys? What are some of the things you've written down that you like? Care to share?
I just put sharing and exchanging ideas and connecting in the therapeutic setting as well as personally.
Yep, beautiful. What about you, Amanda? Thanks, Olga.
I've got sort of similar, like, you know, deep talks with people, cooking and planning, and, you know, physical activities, games, sports. Yeah. Cooking and planning, games and sports. Oh my goodness. Okay, God, you've just written down a whole itinerary for a retreat there. I think so. I think that's probably going to end up going that way.
Why not? You could have one. Everybody can have one. Look, the possibility to sell anything is there. It's just that if you don't have an audience, so you don't have people that are wanting to hear, then there is nothing. It's going to fall on deaf ears. So if you perhaps haven't been having conversations, and I don't mean online, I mean in the real face-to-face sense, if you haven't been having conversations around topics of helping people in that space, in any space, then why would they want to come spend extra time with you to do that stuff? I mean, you could probably call a list of your friends and they might want to go do X, Y, Z because it'd be fun. Actually, I'm going to hit you up because a girlfriend of mine wants to create some events because I've got nothing else to do. Wants to create some events where, and they're fun things for women. Now, is that in my niche? No. Does it matter? Not at all. Is it fun? Yeah. It would totally light me up. Yeah, you would be onto it. No, you just made me think of it because of the games section, because I'm one of the only people I know that likes to play games. You know, my friends come over and I'll have a drink and they're like, okay, let's play this game out. And I'm like, oh no, Kate. Olga, that's awesome. Okay, so the next, because I want you guys to come up with the answer yourself. So how could you know, now knowing some of this stuff, how could you deliver some free content to people using those things that you just wrote down that you actually like? By the way, Amanda, if you can learn how to gamify anything, I don't know why, but it just works 100 times better than just normal teaching. You know, there's a personal trainer I used to have conversations with years ago, and she used to gamify everything, you know, so she'd put clients in groups digitally online and they would score points and they'd have like this whole team thing going. It's how she ran the business. And it was so fun. Everyone loved it. The whole thing was a competition. And it doesn't have to be about, you know, sprinting and sport and all that kind of stuff, but I guess it could be. We all need more fun and more games. So Olga, what would the answer be? So can you come up with some? So there could be free. What if there could be free local groups and chats? See, I can't help myself. It's going into networking, and then we'll get to the mindset and we'll overcome it. Okay. I actually also am a big fan of action will trump the mindset issue any day. But you kind of got to trick yourself into doing it sometimes, which is how I trick myself into doing it. Is I make an appointment, like I say, I'm going to do 10 webinars. Do I want to? No, of course I don't. Every time I go to do a seminar the day before, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't do this. Why am I doing this? Oh, I should cancel it. So that thought comes in a lot, and I have done hundreds.
So it's really like you're not paying attention to your thoughts around sharing.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. I also think that the thing that will trump it is if you're actually in conversation with a human that wants to hear it.
Yeah. Instead
of digital stuff is not really a conversation. I mean, this is a conversation, but actually just doing social media marketing, for example, that ain't a conversation. I hate when people say, I'm just having a conversation. No, you're not. You're throwing something on the internet. The conversation goes back and forward. So to throw stuff on the internet, that's just going to be a slow, just know it's a slow burn. It's a slow traction thing. So yes, you could do it to tick the box, do that thing, but it's not the predominant thing. And it's definitely not where you would say, are enough people going to turn up to my thing? And if they don't, I won't do it. You know, oh, I put the post out there and not enough people wanted to do it. That's great. That's because you did one thing and there's actually 100 others that we get to do as well. And that list of marketing things to do needs to be joined in with the list of things that you like to do to contribute to humans. Because there are a lot of people that don't actually like having conversations with people. I've got a friend, I've got two they're quite high profile internet marketing people. They don't like having appointments in their calendar. They don't like talking to people in appointments in their calendar. They'd rather make funnels, build content, make videos, but this would drive them mad. I had one of them look at my diary once. I used to go to her house and personal trainer, and she looked at my diary and said, are they your appointments? I said, yeah, they are. Why? She said, oh, that'll do my head in. I don't want to talk to that many people. Okay. So she's really good at the digital stuff. So good for her. Really good at it. But we don't have to compare ourselves. When I think back to the busy times where a lot's been happening, and when it was happening at the time, I wanted more time. I wanted more time to build the business. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is not what I'm meant to be doing. I don't want to stand here and count to 10 for these people anymore. I want more time to do the other things and blah, blah, blah. And all I used to do was get the needle to move in between sessions. I'd have 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes in between sessions. If I was lucky, after 4 to 6 sessions, when I've got to go to the toilet, eat, and do your marketing in 15 minutes if you're a personal trainer or something like that. And I used to get sometimes more done in that time, or reply to messages, or make sales calls, or all of it. The entire list would get to be done in 15 minutes. And so I think focusing on the 1 or 2, maybe even 3 things will actually get traction quickly, will spur you on to do the next thing, and then give you a bit of gumption to do the things that are a little bit more unpleasant, like making posts or some videos or something. But does that make sense? So if we can figure out what the 2 or 3 things are for you guys, both of you actually, or when everyone's listening to the recording, if we can figure out what those couple of things are for you to actually get results. Just realized it looks like the plant's coming out of the ball, doesn't it? If we can figure out what those couple of things are for you to actually get results, you'll then be spurred on to do the next lot of lists of things, which will be harder, but your confidence level that what you're doing works will be higher. But if you keep going with things that aren't working, it's no wonder there are 90, probably 90, 91% of businesses are not around after 2 years. It's because it's hard. It's probably because they don't ask for help as well, or maybe they burn all their money and resources on the wrong kind of help as well. And look, I've done that too, but I still think that it's important to get traction. So in between this call and the next call, let's decide on what 2 or 3 things are that you guys are going to do to move the needle in terms of your stuff. And you go take action on those, and you stay accountable to me, and you say, okay, I went to do this and then this happened, because something will come up. And stay accountable, and let's, okay, we'll do the next thing. Can I highly recommend that both of you in the next, and if you're listening to the recording in the next week, and this is to get over mindset stuff right, but it's also going to touch on the marketing subject, and it's going to touch on the networking subject. Can you create some kind of either live event like this, but I wouldn't suggest it's online, because I had lots of people register and look how many turned up, right? And that would be disheartening to most people. So I'd highly recommend you create some live face-to-face catch-up around whatever topic. It could be coffee. Actually, could quite easily be coffee. It could be coffee catch-up for women on the subject of blah, blah, and blah. You could give them all a chance to talk. You could give them your 2 or 3 tips based on what it is that they've said. because people really want to be heard and listened to. And it's only after doing multiple, probably hundreds and thousands of those conversations, to be honest, that your marketing will get any good. Or you could hire a $10,000 a month copywriter and they've studied all that stuff. Because there are a lot of nuances of there's new people coming into your business. There's what they already know. There's what they're assuming. There's what they're feeling in their life that they think that they need. One of the big mistakes that we make as a kind of practitioner is we educate them, and instead of talking to them at the level that they're at, because they're not a client yet. So when someone's a client, you can lay it on thick, do it all, put it all in there. But before they're a client, there's no point educating them that much. It's too dense. It's too much. Makes sense? It would be like me saying to you guys, okay, I'm going to give you this Dropbox file, and out of those 472 documents and resources, I just want you to have a look at all of them before next week, and then just tell me if you've got any questions. Like, it's just too much. And this folder is a tenth of the size of what it used to be, because I had to take material out because it was overwhelming for people. And I still have coaches that get 6 months in and have only opened my first 2 emails. So they've seen 2 folders. And it doesn't matter, they got great results. Why? Because I had a conversation with them on a regular basis, because that's how I work. So you don't have to do that though, but I'm just telling you that so that you've got something to go off with your own material. But before somebody is a client, I'm going to relate to them and ask them questions. So to make this relatable to you guys, I've asked you questions so that I can make the material relatable to how you get results, right? So do that with your coffee club. I actually, a few weeks ago, months ago now, started a local coffee catch up in a new group that I made called Self-Employment for All Australians. I don't know if any of you have seen that. Actually, you're probably both in it. So I made we've had a couple of coffee catch-ups from there to help them. Why? Because helping them actually helped me. It helped me. It's funny, my mum has always made fun of me saying, you know what, when are you going to stop? She doesn't anymore. When are you going to stop wanting to save the world? Okay, you're going to grow up. You're going to grow out of that one day. You better hurry up and stop trying to save the world. It's never gone away. It's actually turns out it's my zone of genius. I've just consistently always want to help. I've just got to make sure the message goes to people who want to hear it. Because if I did all that to my friends, for example, like they'd probably get pretty annoyed. So I don't do that. I save it for clients and people who want to hear. Makes sense. And so you get to save it for a captive audience as well. Just because there's no transaction of money happening at that time, the thing that needs to happen is purely you need to build your sense of belief that you actually do the thing. If you don't believe and know within every cell of your body that you do the thing, then it won't work. And that's why having conversations with people, either free conversations, yes, on the phone, or also a coffee catch-up date around that specific thing, or a walk date, and it's a walk and talk about that specific thing. But it really gets to be a lot simpler than what you think. Did you hear that, Olga? Awesome. So I was just talking about how the real shift occurs when, hi Joe, I see that you've just jumped on. We're doing a little bit of everything today because I asked the girls what topic they wanted to do. And so we're diving into mindset and then also kind of networking. And mindset from the perspective that the busier you get helping people, the easier everything is. But that's my philosophy for myself. Joe, can you hear me? So what I got the girls to do before was to make a list of how they actually like helping people. And are you okay with, that's cool, but you can hear me and you're typing, so you're obviously not driving your car. Doing live tonight, actually, because it's hosting. It's out of my comfort zone, but going for it. Yay, Amanda. Good. Don't just know that the video content then is there for people to watch and for you to send to other people. So make it relevant to someone and something. And you will be able to send it to people later as well. One of the ways that I accidentally got online material to work was I used to make videos for my own clients anyway, and then eventually unlocked them on, this was on YouTube, this was before Facebook stuff. And so then I would just send a whole list of like the playlist to inquiries. Say, for example, there's a playlist for an inquiry that was a mum that wanted to lose weight post-baby. But then by the time they got like 3 or 4 videos in, because it was just me talking about my own story, they were coming in throwing their credit card. Did I follow a tactic? No, I actually knew that those videos would help them. I realized after doing it a little bit that it helps the person get to know you and if you're kind of right for them. So you know what it's like when you meet people for the second or the third time? It's just so much easier and it's so much more comfortable. I don't know why that is. But it's like that. So it's like they get to meet you for the second or third time, even though you've never met them. It's really weird. So the second you have something for sale, they might buy it. Jo, what would you most like to get out of today, out of those subjects that you can actually see on there? Feel free to unmute yourself if you can hear me, as it's quicker than typing. Does that answer the question? So in relation to whether it's going online or whether it's mindset, actually mindset underpins everything, but I also know that action underpins everything. I'll tell you this story, Olga, and I've told it a few times before, but you might have heard it. So my Stella's probably marketing and training resources. So think, Jo, I want you to organize some kind of free event for your people, and they can bring whoever. Ideally, it's not online, do it face to face, because I know you've got a physical training business. Organize a free catch up, which might be a coffee and discussions about how to get ripped abs. I don't really care what it is. Like, make it about anything like one of the topics that your clients ask you about all the time. I'm going like back a long time. So I used to have this whole series of seminars that I run over and over, and abs was one of them. So with relation to, because marketing is building relationships, right, and establishing authority. I mean, there's so many words on the internet now. Everyone's got all these words and theories and ways to do things, but it doesn't trump time with a person, because all you're trying to do is attract people so that you've got their time, right? That a successful marketing gets people to consume your stuff. There's no better consumption than a conversation, and if you can do multiple people in a conversation at once, highly, 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 highly recommend it. Now, where to put the thing that you're going to do the thing? You need to text all of your friends. Ideally, you text all of your friends. You tell everybody, hey, I'm going to run this coffee chats to do with women's fertility. I'm going to, talk about maybe some personalized tips for people. Maybe that's too sensitive a topic, I don't know. But just have a go. If you know anybody, I'm going to run a healthy habits chat session, and a coffee and a walk, or a game in Amanda's case or something, and it's going to happen at this time and da-da-da-da-da-da. Now you choose the time and the date and the place that's convenient for you, not when everybody else would like to do it. I don't care about them. You're the facilitator. Do it when suits you. You don't need a lot of warning for these things either. People are not going to cancel their holiday to come to your event, okay? So don't plan them for 3 weeks in advance. Do it in the next week if you can. Whenever you would have coffee with a friend or a chat in the next week, I want you to organise a coffee chat thing with anybody. And my goodness, even just doing that and turn up to the cafe and then be like, oh my God, no one turned up. Even that is going to break your mindset. That is going to build courage and resilience, because you turned up and you did the thing because you said you were going to. The reason my business has kind of accidentally grown is because I turned up to the seminars that I made myself do. I thought they're a great idea at the time, but I was just saying, Jo, like the day before, I didn't want to do them, of course. you know, who would want to? Because it was nerve-wracking, and sometimes I wouldn't know if people would turn up, and sometimes there's been none. Yeah, sometimes there's been no one at the seminar, and then on other times I've had 80 people turn up. And then from those things, other people have asked me to do similar things because they're like, oh, you do those things? Oh, yeah, do I? Okay. Yeah, those things over there you actually saw me post about were just free seminars at a gym. So, but all of a sudden now I'm a speaker. So it's about the story that you tell yourself as well. And that story that you tell yourself won't change unless you are actually doing the thing. So you can't fool your subconscious into believing that you are the person that does the thing. I don't believe, unless you're technically having the conversation. So give yourself something to stand on. Like, don't fib to yourself. Actually have the conversation with the people and force yourself to be publicly accountable. Because if you don't turn up, what if someone else turns up to the cafe and you chickened out and they were there looking for you? What if somebody else turned up to this Zoom thing and I forgot to start it? I mean, you know, accidents happen, but what would you guys think? You'd be like, oh, I signed up for that thing. Damn, I was looking forward to it for whatever reason, you know. And there was a lot of people that signed up, but only this many turned up. But guess what? If no one turned up, I would have chosen the topic and spoke about it myself, only because I'm here to make content on a consistent basis. Why? Because I haven't been doing it, because I've been doing a different business venture. And I thought, right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to launch back into this by doing a whole series of these things. What am I going to talk about? Oh my God, I have that folder over there with all that stuff in it. I'm just going to talk about those topics. So in terms of the way to do the mindset is actually to take the action. In terms of whether it's marketing or it's going online, can you please use the philosophy of make yourself accountable publicly, so that if you don't do it, you'll be incredibly, I'm going to put this to embarrassed. So now that there's only a few of you on, what can you commit to doing in the next week before we re-adjourn? And you don't have to come back because I can't make you, right? What can you do in the next week that's got to do with your list of liking, how you like to contribute and talk to people? Joe, I got the girls to write down before, how do you most like to contribute to humans? Like, I like having a conversation with people in real life. So however you like to interact with humans, you're going to use that as a free marketing thing. So what free marketing thing are you going to take action on in the next week? Now, see, if you book that in like in 2 days, there's only 2 days to get stressed about it for. But if you book it in 3 weeks, there's a long time to build up to that time. You'll probably cancel it. So that's why I want it to be done quick. Rip the Band-Aid off, do the thing. Like Amanda said, she publicizes her digital thing like an hour before it's on. So guys, what are you going to do? Let me know. Can you let me know? Type it in or unmute yourself and let me know. To make yourself accountable. What free marketing thing you're going to do, take action on in the next week? That's got to do with the way you like to conversate with people, with the market that you help. Anyone? No one?
Yeah, well, I'm obviously going to be doing that thing tonight, but I guess, yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking into the next sort of thing I can do after this thing tonight. And, you know, obviously there'll be a lot of reflecting on how that's going to come about anyway after this as well. So that's why it was perfect timing to have this call now as well. So, yeah, that's how I'm definitely going to be doing it. And, yeah, and finding other ways to implement, you know, the things I enjoy into the next thing I do.
Yes, actually, it just gets to be fun. So I wouldn't think too much about it if you can help it. It's the first thing that pops into your head is the right thing to do. Definitely. Always. And that's the other thing I find when I've got too much time to think about it. Like, obviously, you know, then there's more time for other thoughts to come in and overcrowd. And it's like, oh no, why would you do that? Or however many other conversations and personalities we all have in there, they all just have a go, right? But if you just do the thing, it's quite quick, then you don't have a chance to. Part of the story I was going to say before, Stella, my daughter's father used to be in the army, and he said once they were on a mission in East Timor, the the reason he gave me this lecture in the first place was we'd moved, I can't remember where we'd moved from. We'd moved from somewhere back to Sydney, and I said to him, oh, I don't know what to do. What am I going to do? Am I going to start massage? Should I go to the local gym and do personal training there? Or what am I going to, and anyway, I was doing that. I don't know what I'm going to do thing for a week or two. And he got sick of it. He said, listen, all the decisions that you make are the right decisions. You just have to make one. And they taught us that in the army. Here's why. So he was at East Timor and he was leading the troops, and he was on the track, and it was dirty and dusty, so he couldn't really see. And he got a command to something, get off the track, blah, blah, blah. Like, because, you know, they thought they were going to die, get bombed or something. But he didn't hear the command properly. So, and the theory with obviously armed forces is when you move, you've got momentum to continue moving. But if you stay still, it is imminent death. So if you can't hear an order, just move. So he said it didn't matter if I went to the left of the track or the right. Either way, if I stayed still, I was going to move. If I went that way, we actually literally the legs would have momentum to keep moving, and it would be faster than if we had to take off. So you just have to move. I love that story. It gives me goosebumps every time I think about it, but it's so true. I need to re-lecture myself with that multiple times, because all movement is correct. I know that conversations build belief. Conversations are fantastic for marketing. It's fantastic for growing your network. It's fantastic for building relationships, for selling things later. And when I say selling things, you're not going to message these people to sell them things. I don't do cold DMing people about things. You could definitely cold DM people about this because you're doing something that's free. It's a give, right? You're not selling something, it's a give. It's the same with this, it's a give. So be conscious that if you're doing something and it's for free and it's marketing, it's in the give category, and you can message as many people as you want with that, right? Why not? As long as you have the intention of it literally is that. The reason it feels bad doing that these days, I think, is because so many of us go, oh yeah, but I've got this thing over here that if you wanted to buy it, you could. Yeah, you could. No, that's not bad, but you definitely don't have to do it. I've personally only about 2 out of 190 seminars that I've done have I tried to sell from stage. And I say tried because it didn't go down very well. So obviously I don't know how to do it, or I don't do it very well, obviously. But I don't think that you have to do that either. What I've always done with the seminars is whoever's in the audience, for example, would get to do a free trial with whatever was going on at the time where I had time to fit them in the calendar. So if it was a one-on-one, they got it. If it was a week in group training, they got it. If it was 2 weeks of the online course, then they got it. Like, it didn't really matter, but it was how could I keep them engaged in the conversation and help them more after the thing. And then when they're in that conversation, then they would get asked, would you like to see what this looks like for us to work together on this project ongoing after this? Can you see? Like, that's so slimy, isn't it? Like, just so slimy. It's not, right? But I'm asking, would you like to? They can say no, and then you don't have to waste your breath. It's not that hard. But because the whole idea of obviously marketing mindset, all of these things technically is to lead to enjoyment and sales, I think. And I don't think that they're exclusive. But being the person implementing the thing, doing the thing, having the fun, as if it's $1 million program, just do that. Because it definitely follows joy. If it's feeling yuck, step aside, do something slightly different, and make it fun. And if that's conversations with people, if that's like conversations with one person over coffee, then that's all it needs to be. And also, I think we forget that we can nourish past clients and nourish current clients, because it's like growing anything, then that grows too. There's no reason past client relationships couldn't come back to do something else. Do you have something else to offer? Is there something else that you could help them with? Message them and ask them how they're going with their health. How's everything going? But do it from a perspective of just actually genuinely want to know, because you're a nice person. And I think that people can tell. Like, I've messaged my clients and have done forever. Like, even people from 10, 15, I messaged someone from 20 years ago, the other couple of years ago, actually. Turns out, do you know what I met this woman in Sydney. She's a CEO. I used to train her a couple of times a week in the morning at 6 o'clock. Anyway, she'd kill me. And I was in my 20s and she was in her 40s. She's now in her 60s. And it turns out when I was messaging her, she lived 2 blocks away from me in Torquay. So bizarre. And I met her in Sydney. And I have coffee with her now on an irregular basis. But if we let ourselves see, I wasn't purposely networking. I was just messaging her to say, how are you? Wow, it's been a while. So if we let ourselves do that, the stuff that you do, so if you do this and you've brainwashed yourself with that, you do this, that you're helping people and it's just a natural part of the conversation, it's going to come out over here and it's to be a natural part of the conversation. I think we need to unlearn all of the things that we've learned the last, especially 5 years in the digital space, of all these methods and blah, blah, blah. But that's why it feels yuck. Personally, I think. Is that a puppy? Oh, no, it's a cat. Have you guys got any questions? What are you actually going to create? Scared Joe off. Joe's like, I've got to go. Okay. What is your give going to be? Because this is not going to be about not implementing, that's for sure. It's what is the give going to be? Now, at the same time, I want you to think about this. You don't have to promote it. You don't have to promote it at all, actually, but I want you to let it come out of your mouth, even if you tell yourself in the mirror, is what is your high-end offer? Because what isn't here is like actually normal business practices. I've totally left that off. And there's free stuff. There's free stuff that you'll have. There's kind of medium priced, which is where the one-on-one stuff that you'll do will sit. And then there's the high end. Doesn't mean that it requires a lot of hours from you. Probably means, for example, maybe medium price is a group program. Let's pretend you've got 100 clients each. So medium price is a group program. And the high end, there would be maybe 5 people who get to speak to you one-on-one a week. And obviously that costs more. Do you need to send them to a sales page to click that link? No, you could also just have a conversation with them and say, hey, you could do either this thing or this thing. What would you like? It's that hard. But if it doesn't come out of your mouth and it doesn't exist, then they won't knock on your door to make you accept the money. And so many people, we're missing that. Because when I look back at the practices over the years that gave me breathing space and time, and also the ability to find somebody to help me with my website because I'm slow, or find somebody to help me with email marketing because again, I'm slow, or find somebody to help me run the ads because I don't really know what I'm doing there. Don't muck around with that. Just find somebody that knows what they're doing. The high-end stuff gives you the breathing space, which allowed me to do plenty for free. Plenty. Makes sense? And then there were things that fit into this category as well. So you do need this, and you don't have to execute it now, but I highly recommend thinking about it, not for too long, because there will be people out there that will pay it, whatever it is. And when I say high end, I mean I want the price to come out of your mouth that's over $1,000, because when it does, it'll break you open. It'll crack you open, actually. It'll crack you open. It won't break you, it'll crack you open in a good way. Because we get to level up from a mindset perspective of what we have the ability to receive. That's a big one, actually. And I think obviously, like, what is the better action for that than to actually create the ability to receive? Like, nothing. You can talk about it all you like. You can feel it all you like. Words will make the action as well. So having your conversations with people, telling yourself and brainwashing yourself that you actually do the thing, that you talk about the thing, that you create content for the thing. But then if there's no conversation going back and forward, I just find it's a bit hard to believe just putting out digital content. That's why I like having conversations. Why I like you guys or anyone I'm helping to have conversations with humans. Because it doubles up on marketing and it doubles up on mindset resources. My mindset resources and practice is literally, it's a bunch of books. It's a bunch of books, and it's a it's a YouTube link of a playlist of meditations. This is a really good one, Breaking the Time Barrier. It's a free PDF. This is awesome as well if you haven't already read or listened to that, but I'm guessing that you have. Think and Grow Rich. And there's another one called Breaking the Time Barrier, when the basis is about, instead of just looking at yourself or understanding that people can work for $1 for a minute, you know, $60 an hour, for example. Instead of that, what you're doing is you're helping to change the person's life in some way, shape, or form. And in this book, the girl gives an example. It's a story about a website developer, and what she did was actually end up charging a percentage of annual turnover for the companies that she worked for, because the websites that she was doing were so good at generating more revenue for the company. So there was no point her working per hour, and people are happy to have a percentage of profit, for example. But that there's so many other ways to make money, even us people who do consultations, even us. If you don't have any of that, let me know. I'm also happy to, I'll share the links to YouTube, etc. If I can get this folder to open. No, I can't get it to open, but I'll open it and I'll share the YouTube links with you. But it really is about changing our beliefs. It's all making sense. Has anyone got any questions? If not, I'll let you go. Let you take some action. Let you be accountable. Let you decide what you're going to do in the next week. And I will be right back at you this time, same space next week. And feel free to stay accountable in the meantime. Okay. There's a Facebook group where I'll do the accountability. It will be easier. I mean, you can message me on Facebook as well. And that group, I'll just put that here. It is called The Art of Tripling Your Personal Training Business. I'll just pop it in the chat. You're welcome. There you go. So there's a heap of resources over there. But again, it's not about the resources. I can give you resources till I'm blue in the face. It's about actioning the stuff. So let's take some action. Okay. Yeah, got it. Awesome.
Thank you.
Welcome. To go take some action. I will talk to you soon. Got it? All right, cool. Thanks, Amanda. All right, talk to you soon, girls.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Pleasure. Welcome.